After spending several hours with a pre-launch build of Borderlands 3, I can now say with confidence that the series' fast-paced looter-shooter formula remains almost entirely unchanged. Borderlands 3 is unapologetically stylized, silly, and decidedly not shoehorned into the mold of a game-as-a-service like Anthem or Destiny. That's not to say that Gearbox hasn't taken a few cues from other recent trends. For instance, you can slide down hills and ping anything in sight a la Apex Legends, and in a series first, each of the 4 classes can choose between multiple action skills. But otherwise, things felt functionally and thematically similar to previous entries, which isn't inherently a bad thing. What I played of Borderlands 3 was filled to the brim with the off-color humor, horde of creative weaponry, and straightforward 4-player co-op we know and love, and not much else. Borderlands 3's introductory moments approach the realm of homage, as you're booted off a bus onto the side of a dusty road and greeted by Claptrap, who gives you an echo device and reminds you how to crouch and jump. Ring any bells? The trip down memory lane doesn't stop there, as you're sent to fix up a defunct catch-a-ride station and Marcus Munitions vending machine. These missions are undeniably familiar, but also quite fun. And luckily for Borderlands 3, those are not mutually exclusive traits. The gang of zany and lovable misfits are all here, from the unstable Dr. Tannis to the charming Ellie, who boasts admirable heft.
You've got admirable heft, girl.
You'll encounter plenty of fresh faces too, like the antagonistic Calypso twins or the essence of rapper Ice-T imbued into an adorable teddy bear.
I'm not adorable.
Like the Borderlands of old, you'll play as one of 4 character classes. This time around, the choices are Mose the Gunner, Zane the Operative, Amara the Siren, and Flak the Beastmaster. Unlike previous games, each class has a choice between 3 different action skills, selectable at the top of each notably beefed up skill tree. Flak, for example, can choose between Fade Away, a sneaky ambush skill, Gamma Burst, an AoE damage effect and pet steroid, and Rack Attack, which sends out 2 fiery rack to dive bomb enemies. Additionally, Flak is accompanied by 1 of 3 combat pets that confer different bonuses, and all of these options, in theory, give you the ability to fine-tune your build to your preferred playstyle. You can also swap between action skills at any time, but once you pour some points into a single tree, you'll likely want to stick with a corresponding skill or respec. My first impression of Borderlands 3's trademark massive arsenal is a particularly good one. Weapon variety in the Borderlands franchise can be broken up into 2 categories: the number of unique gun archetypes like pistol, shotgun, rifle, etc., and the significance of variables to each, such as elemental damage. In my short time with the preview version, Borderlands 3 appeared to excel in both respects. For one thing, the number of functionally unique weapons with distinct animations was staggering. I saw a wonderfully animated revolver, a quasi-organic assault rifle that spewed a ray of frost, and the Borderlands equivalent of that one wrist-mounted Nerf gun that, only 90s kids will remember. At the same time, the weapons that felt mechanically similar to one another usually had some notable effect, aesthetic flair, or attachment that helped to differentiate them. For instance, I found 3 Jacobs shotguns. One was a pump action, another an over-under with a bayonet, and the final one, a triple-barreled shotgun. Loot in Borderlands 3 already appears to be a series best, and this well-crafted variety had the effect of making chests, quest turn-ins, and bosses particularly exciting because of the ensuing drops. Borderlands 3 retains the series' trademark hand-drawn visual style, and like its predecessors, this works wonderfully in places and just not so well in others. My introductory hours in Pandora were absolutely beautiful. Surfaces gleamed with a reflection of the harsh desert sun, while jutting, stylized peaks popped out of the background. Later, Twilight produced impressive hues of violet and pink. The jungle biome, on the other hand, was a bit of a mess, often appearing cluttered and dark. And all of that cartoon style still creates the same kind of chaos we've seen before. When playing with a full squad of 4, combat became crowded with particle effects at times, making it difficult to keep track of the action. Enemy visibility too was less than stellar in spots, but this was partially alleviated by a ping system that highlights the outline of a marked foe even through the densest of flashy effects. From an animation standpoint, gunplay looks impactful, but at times isn't in terms of the damage. Some enemies felt inexplicably spongy in single player, and perhaps justifiably so in a full squad of 4. Otherwise though, combat was as enjoyable as ever thanks to high mobility and well-telegraphed boss encounters like Mouthpiece and Genevieve. I was also pleased to see the Borderlands equivalent of Diablo's loot goblins darting wildly around the environment and posthumously spewing out cash. It would appear that, instead of chasing trends, Borderlands 3 has doubled down on what the series already does well: a handcrafted comedic campaign, small-scale co-op, and a massive variety of loot. By the same token, it hasn't fixed a few of the lingering annoyances that stuck with me from Borderlands 2, but those are thankfully few and far between. In any case, I'm itching to get my hands on the final version on September 13th. For all things Borderlands 3, including a final review right around that time, keep it right here on IGN.